Right, let's go. Super 6, week one, the start of your 6 week journey. We've got a lot to go through and a lot of things that you might want to consider as we push you over these 6 weeks. So, the goal here is there's going to be you pushing yourself. It's not all about me dragging you over the goal line. So, I'm going to try and prompt you to make the changes you need to make to achieve what you need to achieve in 6 weeks. So we're going to look at how this is going to work out and what you need to do if you want to achieve the goals you want. So, first thing I want you to ponder on and think about here. So, the first truth bomb is this: a bank statement, if you consider it this way, it's a reflection of your financial habits up to this point. So, if you were to log into your bank today, you would see what your financial habits have got you at currently. And in January, it's usually quite a bleak picture. And then, if you think about it another way, how you look and feel is a reflection of your dietary, your exercise, and your sleep habits. So, how you spend, how you save, how you invest, what you do shows up in your bank account. It's a lagging metric of what you do on a daily basis. How you look in a mirror today is that lagging metric of your dietary, your sleep, and your exercise habits. So it's no accident how you look and how you feel. You have created it by your habits and your repeated actions day in, day out. That is facts like death and taxes and gravity. All right. So I want you to think about that. Next one, your before pictures. They do not lie. Like I said, it's like looking at a bank statement. It tells you your current position. If you haven't yet took yourself your before pictures tonight or tomorrow morning, you need to take some because it's like a bank statement. You need to look at the honest reality of where you are. How do I look in a mirror? Front, side, and back. Whether you like it or not is irrelevant. It's just that moment in time, that accountability mirror you're holding up to yourself, which is this is where I'm at, and this is the reality. Good, bad, indifferent. You don't have to label it as anything. It's just it is what it is. Today, this is how I look. Like your bank statement, today, the number at the bottom is what it is. Think of it like that. It is merely a metric and a starting point you can change by changing your daily habits. So if you want your 6 week picture to look different to tonight or tomorrow mornings, I invite you to change your habits and improve them and level them up. Wherever they are, we're looking at marginal gains for some of you. Some of you might be quantum shifts. So depending where you are with your habits, there might be a lot to change. There might be tweaking to change. But this is your journey. It's not mine. I want to get you in the best physical and mental shape in 6 weeks we can possibly get you. And that's the purpose of this course. All right. So, like I said, after this, if you haven't done it yet, this morning or yesterday, before picture, side, front, and back. All right. Because you need to compare it at the end of your 6 weeks. The next question I want you to think about is this one. What would success look like in 6 weeks' time? If we had the crystal ball, you can't make your ears smaller, you can't be taller, you can't be shorter, but there's a lot of other things you can do. Yeah? So, what would success look like in 6 weeks for you? Things you might want to consider and write down, think about and write down after. Your weight. Wherever you are today, you might have a weight goal. You might not. It might be a performance goal. But you might say, I want to be 6 pounds lighter. I might want to be 3. I might want to be a stone lighter. You might have a weight goal. Okay. It might be more about clothing. You might say, I want to be wearing a size smaller, a pair of jeans smaller, another notching on your belt buckle. It might be performance when it comes to fitness. If you can run a 5K without collapsing, do you want to be able to run a 5K faster in 6 weeks by 2 minutes? Do you want to run a 10K in 6 weeks? So it might be performance related. It might be weight related in the gym. If you can deadlift 40 kilos, do you want to deadlift 60 at the end of 6 weeks, which means you are stronger than you are now? It may be a combination of all of those because it's your journey. But I want you to ponder on that and I want you to think about what success looks like for you in 6 weeks. So you can say in 6 weeks' time, I've been successful. Tick, tick, tick. In terms of the outcomes. So these are outcome-based things, but outcomes are only achieved by our daily actions, our inputs. So we have to focus on them to get our outputs and our long-term goals. All right. So the question then follows, what causes change? So this is when people move from being overweight to getting in shape, when they move from not being confident to being confident, when they move from being somebody who hates being skinny and they want to put some muscle on. What actually causes change? And it is always the same. When the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change. Think of it like in the kids' playground, like the seesaw, when you've got weight on both sides. The pendulum has to swing enough for change to happen. So you have to leverage things and weigh them down. You have to come up with enough compelling reasons why you need to create change in your life. Otherwise, it's comfortable. Look at relationships. Everyone on this call here, I bet at some point has stayed in a relationship because even though it wasn't great, the pain of change and being on your own might have felt worse than the pain of staying where you are. We've all been there. I know I have many times. So that's what has to happen. We need to leverage yourself so you've got enough reasons and you weigh it down. So here's all the reasons. I'm a better partner. I'm a better mother, a better father. I'm a better employee, a better leader. I'm more confident. I show up better for my friends. Whatever it, you've got to come up with all the reasons why change is necessary and needed. And all the reasons why, if I stay the same and I get worse, what pain is that going to cause me? If I gain more weight, if I get more unhappy, if I get less confident than I am now, how bad will my life be? You almost need to stack the cards both ways. What's all the benefits and what's all the reasons why, if I carry on that trajectory, my life's going to be more shit than it is now. And I have always liked this thing. It was said to me many years ago on a course. Luckily, you are not a tree. You ain't stuck. You can change. You have the power to change the GPS, the trajectory, your daily actions, and where you want to go. And that's career, that's life, that's relationships, that's diet, that is fitness, that is everything. Your social circle, the lot. You can change anything and everything. You are in control of your life. Like I said many times, you're inputting the GPS and you're steering the ship, the plane, or the car. No one else. All right. So that's quite a liberating thought because when you think, I've always been like this, that's true. Because you've maybe believed people like me don't change. People in my family don't lose weight. You have those old beliefs, those old stories that keep you stuck like a tree. But you can change. All right. When I talked about the seesaw and leverage, the big enough why means you can achieve anything. We all know people who've been told bad news by a doctor and they've sadly waited for that life-changing moment to make changes. It can be addictions, dependency. It can be, a terminal diagnosis to start changing things. But you don't have to wait for things to be that severe to change. You can make the decision yourself. You can be honest with yourself in a mirror. You can write stuff down and you can get a big enough why to, again, like I said, weigh that down to make sure when motivation is wavering, because bear in mind, we all know motivation is like a muscle. It tires. You can't rely on motivation. So something as well, while we're on that point, I want you to consider is this. And I say this with all the love and compassion I can. You've got to somehow, somewhere have the motto, fuck your feelings. Because if we only do things when we feel like doing them, you don't think like that when it comes to showering or brushing your teeth. You don't think, oh God, I can't wait to get and brush my teeth. So motivated to have a shower. Doesn't happen. So you've got to think about nutrition and exercise similar to showering, brushing your teeth, doing the things you need to do that are parts of who you are. You can't rely on your feelings and getting super motivated. Do you have a shower every day? I hope you do. Some form of exercise every day. If it's walking, running, lifting weights, whatever it may be, some yoga, some Pilates, it should be ingrained into your life, like showering, brushing your teeth. Doesn't have to be intense, hard exercise every day, but adding activity into your day should be like showering or brushing your teeth. You don't have to feel great to do it. You do it in spite of how you feel. Do it in spite of how you feel. Feelings become irrelevant. You rely on discipline and consistency, not motivation. So remember this as purely fuck your feelings. All right? I say that in a loving way, obviously. Next one. Little exercise for you to think about, write down, ponder on. But if you've got a pen and paper, it's always more powerful. Are the current habits and rituals you practice daily going to get you to where you want to be? So we talked at the start about your bank statement being a snapshot of your financial habits up to this point. Your photograph in the mirror and how you feel is the snapshot of your nutrition, sleep, exercise habits to this point. So you've got to ask yourself this: whatever it is you want over this 6 week, this 6 month, and this 6 year, are your daily rituals and habits going to get you there? If you put Blackpool in your GPS, you're not going to get to Scarborough. It's in the opposite direction. So you've got to think which GPS, which daily habits are taking me in which direction. Is it towards or is it away from where I want to be and what I want to be? So if you sleep in, if you don't drink water enough, if you don't track what you eat, if you eat when you're feeling low because you haven't prepped meals and you go for high taste convenience food to sedate yourself and your mood, that's not going to get you the body you want, the energy you want, and everything else. It's just being honest with yourself. That's all it is. You're all grown ups here. We've just got to be honest. So, you don't have to do this right now, but you can write what comes to mind. You can think of it later on. Are the current habits that I practice daily going to get me to where I want to be? Very sobering thought, that is. And like I just alluded to then, habits and behaviors are like plotting GPS. They will get you to a destination, but you choose which that destination is. Is it north? Is it south? Is it east? Is it west? So you've got to think about that. Every time you have a habit, it either sends you in one direction or the other. Make sure you consider that. Okay. And as well, at this point, I want you to think about this as well, which I've always said and I always will say. Throughout this 6-week course, we are looking at one thing, which is progress, not perfection. Every single week, as you fill in your trackers and you write down, did I hit my calories? Did I hit my protein? Was my sleep on point? All the things you're going to tick your boxes of. The goal every week is to score a little bit more than you did the week before, which means your habits are getting better. You are more likely to get the end result you want than the one you don't want. So we're looking at progress, okay? As I think you're getting the gist of here, you'll never get to the destination you want without the right daily habits. They're a big thing. They're kind of a big deal, as Ron Burgundy would say. And this is why we keep score of the daily habits that matter. The sheet you have, the accountability tracker, I've put on there the things that for most of you will get you closer to what you want. Some of you, due to your own life and your own point in the journey and your journey, might want to substitute some of those things, and you might want to track other things that are challenging to you. You might be at a point where your water intake is dialed in every day and you don't need to track it. You might have food prep down and you might be tracking food. You know what your calories are and you're on that journey. There might be other things you need to look at daily. So I would implore you, if you are on that path already and you think you've got certain things absolutely dialed in, feel free to track other things if you feel that's what's taking you off course. Because self-awareness is key here, guys. Most of you, if I were to ask you in a one-on-one turbo coaching call, what is the one thing that if you changed would make the biggest difference for you? Most of you would know what it is. Some of you will go, Miles, it's late night snacking. Some of you would say it's weekends. Some of you would say, I don't plan in workouts and I overrun at work every day, so I just don't get my sessions in. You would all know what your one big thing is. So make sure that is something that you track and everything around that that makes you succeed in that area is on point, and track it. All right. And remember, a biggie for me is this. As we dive into mindset further in this course, I'll warm you up with this little one. Where attention goes, energy flows, and we always get more of what we focus on. If you need to focus on your training and your steps, I wouldn't worry too much about Trump's inauguration. That's probably not going to help with your fat loss. You get where I'm going with this. Don't get sidetracked by stuff that you don't need to follow if you've got some big things you need to work on. If you really need to dial in your diet, your food prep, planning things out, put some attention on it. Give it the energy it needs. Because if you don't, it will go to shit and it'll fall by the wayside. So make sure you're giving the things that are challenging to you the attention they need. Otherwise, if nothing changes, nothing changes. You'll stay the same. Your weekly scorecard. I always start with this one. I always say keep it on your fridge door. One, I like it on the fridge door because that's where a lot of the damage can be done. Because every time you go to open your fridge door, if you've got something there, as a reminder, you could have fuck your feelings, stay out the fridge fatty. You could say whatever's going to motivate you or challenge you. You know what's going to push your buttons better than anyone else. You could put a picture of yourself on your fridge door that you really don't like. Because if you see that picture before you open the fridge door and eat something that's not going to serve you, it might be that sort of mirror held up to yourself. So again, self-awareness, think about what is going to work for you. But your accountability tracker needs to be somewhere you see it every day. It could be a cupboard door, fridge door, side of your laptop if you work from home. But every single night, keep score. Did I hit my steps? Yes or no? Did I hit my protein? Yes. They're all just yes or no. They're not, well, I tried. I nearly did. I was gonna, then I got attacked by a cream cake. None of that matters. It is just, did I, yes or no? Keep this just black and white, yes or no. Because every week, when you assess it at the end of the week and we have the tough conversations with ourselves, you've got to look at your scores and think, okay, I hit my water 3 out of 7 days. Why? What can I do different next week? Okay. Some of you have done this before, know why we're going to do this. We will share your scorecard in the group each week and keep you accountable and honest. When you add up your ticks across your scorecard, if you've got 21 in week one, well, we aim for 22, 23, or 24 in week two. The name of the game, like I've said, is progress, not perfection. There's no point you ticking boxes that aren't true because you're lying to yourself and you're not impressing anyone. Just keep it honest. Whatever your score is your score, and we try and move forwards. You need to know where you are not strong and where you're doing really well, and where you need to put your attention on next week to improve. Okay? The reason I make you put it in the group is because it makes you think about, well, everyone's going to see it. I'm accountable. The reason Weight Watchers works to a degree is purely the fact you're getting weighed in front of a group of people. It's the group accountability. It's nothing to do with the nutritional advice they're giving. Because eating as much pasta as you want, because it's a sin-free food, is I'm not sure about the science in that, if I'm being honest. But we'll keep that as a side issue. But it's the accountability that matters. Every week you have to be honest with yourself and you have to submit stuff. All right. That's why it works. That's why you're going to submit your scorecard in the group. So, Q&A. So some of you have been here before. Some of you are new. This is where, don't be shy. Ask any questions you want. Advanced, beginner stuff. It doesn't matter. Hit me with it and we'll go through it. So anyone wants to go first, go for it.
Go on, I'll go first then, because you know I've got a question.
Oh, do I? Do I? Well,
Yeah. So basically, this is well, where it's coming from. My goal last time was to lose half a stone, which I did, and I still do have some body fat to lose, but I don't want to. I feel I'm in a bit of a Weight Watchers mentality actually, and I'm looking at scales, and I just feel like I'm dieting. And what I really, really want is some muscle back. I want my quads back. I want my guns. So it's kind of, but then also there's that fear then of eating too much. So yeah, I just want a bit of structure around that sort of changing goal, really, from cutting to maintenance to bulking up a bit.
well, so usually what's proven to be the most successful way of doing this over the years, I've had people in bodybuilding shows and on stages and things like that, and I've done recomp stuff with them, and I've tested various methods over the last 26 years, I think, 26 years. And what I found to be effective is when people has done, for example, a 6 week cut, and I'm saying 6 weeks just because this is a 6 week course as such. So if you start out and you drop your calories, you work out a deficit, and you sort of start losing weight over a 6 week period. And you, like you said, you lose half a stone over half a stone. You do that, you lose the weight, brilliant. But obviously, bear in mind as well, in this course, what I always stress is we lift weights and we try and get stronger. Because in a calorie deficit, we're trying to retain or even gain muscle by high protein intake in a deficit. So, what we're trying to do, even though we're in a calorie deficit, is subtract the fat but retain the muscle. What you then do at the end of a cutting phase, which can be 6 weeks, 8 weeks, usually not much longer than that, because you can start. Because what people do is in a cutting phase often, and the mistake made is this, is they reduce their inputs and reduce their inputs and reduce their inputs. So what happens is when calories are dropped by 300 to 500 to create that deficit under what you would be for maintenance calories, people go there and they might lose weight for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, for example. Then what people do is the weight loss might plateau for a bit, because weight loss, remember, is never linear. It never comes down in a straight line. There's always flat spots before it goes again. But when it flat spots, what people then do is think, I'll drop another 500 calories. So suddenly they've gone in this massively aggressive deficit of 1,000 calories a day. And at that point, then you want to walk into a McDonald's with a machine gun and start shooting people because you feel that bad. You're craving everything because your body is in such low calories, you feel terrible. But you might continue losing weight because at this point you've dropped even more calories. And if the activity level's still there, you might lose a bit more. But you get to a point where you can't go lower than zero. You've started at 1,800, you've gone down to 1,500, then you're down at 1,200 calories. And then you're thinking, well, I can't go down to 800 calories a day because I'm getting deficiencies, my hair's falling out, I feel terrible, menstrual cycle can start getting, you know, affected. You can get all sorts of downstream problems from keep cutting calories. So what I usually have said to always to people is, if you want to cut weight, once you get into a calorie deficit, if things plateau, you slightly keep increasing your outputs. So you might, if you're doing 11,000 steps a day, try doing 12 and a half, 13,000. So you just increase your work rather than keep decreasing calories. Because I don't believe that decreasing calories, because your body's very smart. If you, and it's been proven this in a few studies, if you carry on, keep decreasing calories, your body starts adjusting to lower calories. And what they found is people move less, they sit more. So keep dropping calories is not the way. But you, for example, you've lost the weight. So you, like you said, the Weight Watchers mentality, you don't want to then keep dropping calories or anything like it. What I like people to do is gradually increase their calories. And you can do this week by week, but you want to look at it in terms of increase calories gradually and not by lots. So let's just say you've done a 6 week cut where you've been on 1,500 calories as a round figure.
I wish, Miles.
What you been on?
Just sort of, the last one that I calculated was 12,370. So when I calculated it this time, it told me to go see my doctor. So I put it up to 1,400.
Yeah, 40. I'm going to say 1,400 sounds more sustainable long term.
Yeah.
Now, the key thing is always one, clothes, the mirror, and the scales. The three of them give a balanced opinion. The scales doesn't always give the true picture, as we know. Now, again, if you're getting stronger in the gym and fitter in the gym, we want performance improvements and we want to fuel that. Because I like people to get stronger and build more muscle and more shape over time. So after you've done like a cutting phase, I like people to increase the calories to a point where they feel like they're recovering really well from sessions. They're getting stronger almost workout by workout. So if you've done sort of 12, 1300 calories, and let's just say you've been on that for a while, I don't think you should immediately jump to 2000. That's not what I'm saying. But 1300 to 1550, something like that. And then try and get as strong as you can and manage the outputs, which is how much you move, your step count, and getting stronger and pushing the envelope in the gym. Can I add more weight to the bar? Yes. So you want to focus on getting stronger and your step count with as many calories as you can without gaining fat.
Yeah.
So usually what I like, because when people talk about bulking and cutting and all this kind of stuff, now calories in excess of what you need to gain muscle, where you start gaining fat, this bulking 1980s methodology and mindset of the more calories the better isn't always true. You want enough calories to enhance performance and allow you to get stronger without gaining body fat. Because it's been pointless losing a lot of fat to then just suddenly go on loads of calories to put the fat back on. Because calories in excess of what you need for your training, living, and everything else usually does get stored as adipose tissue. But calorie excess, usually in the form of protein, is a lot harder to convert to body fat. So as long as you've got a high percentage of protein in the diet as you bring your calories up, so I would say at least 30% protein as you start ramping your calories back up. So have a look at your macros of your protein grams per day versus calories. Obviously, your grams of protein times 4 into your, if you're taking in 100 grams of protein, it's 400 calories a day of protein. If you've got 400 calories out of 1200, that's your 30%. So as you're increasing your calories, that amount of protein wants to keep going up. So you're around 30%-ish protein. That's about the sweet spot for most people. You can do other diets where you go super high on protein and fat and keto diets, things like that. Now, if that is sustainable for you, I've got no problem with keto diets. The evidence long term for them is very sketchy. So I don't think you need to go on keto. I don't think you need to go on any extreme diet on any end of the spectrum. It needs to be sustainable for you. And sustainable for some of you might be slightly higher in carbs, and for some of you might be slightly higher in fats. Because some people I know feel better on higher fat, some people feel better on higher carbs. But the one thing that doesn't normally change is around 30% protein. The rest of it, how you want to split it, is down to your personal preference. But also consider fat is 9 calories per gram. Carbohydrates are 4 calories per gram. So you'll get more volume in your diet with carbs. So always consider that. Yeah. So Nadine, just summarizing. So I know I've gone a long way around the houses, but you gradually increase your calories, keeping your protein at the same percentage to a point where you want to teeter on the edge where you're almost gaining fat again, but you've got enough calories for good, healthy muscle growth and getting stronger.
Right. No, that's fine. I can work with that. Thank you.
More food's always good
Son,
news, isn't it?
Yeah.
son's friends will be knocking on the door then.
Right,
Who
who else has got
they
anything?
think they're laughing at me.
Either a starting question or any other question. Anything else? Don't be shy. We're all friends here. Nothing else? Ooh. Ooh, done in record time. Not many questions.
Looking forward to rest at 6 weeks, Miles, to be honest.
Good, me too. So
Go on,
listen,
then. Tell you what, Miles, I've got another question then.
go for it.
So when we set ourselves a very specific goal, so I had a very specific goal last time. So if I were to sort of go a bit vaguer and say my goal this time is to build some muscle, how do I make that a bit more specific and measurable?
So building more muscle, right? What I would say is attach that to performance goals. So if you think about it, the muscle that can contract a 20 kilo dumbbell under tension for 10 reps, right, is always going to be a bigger bicep muscle than one that can do the same with a 6 kilo dumbbell. So if
Okay.
you think I would attack your workouts with this mindset, in a slight calorie surplus with good amounts of protein, if I focus on getting stronger and stronger week on week in my squats, my deadlifts, my leg presses, my lunges, and everything, if you do that, a stronger muscle long term is always a bigger muscle.
Yeah. Thank you.
Because strength, remember this as well. God, I was giving out a sports science lesson in the sauna last week to some guys about this. So short-term strength gains are usually neuromuscular. They're down to nervous adaptation. So you start a new exercise, your nervous system learns it, you coordinate the fibers to fire in the right sequence, and you get more of them contracting at once. So over the first 2, 3 times of doing an exercise, for example, you might not actually gain muscle even though you get stronger. Your nervous system is just getting hardwired for that exercise, and you're learning to coordinate more fibers at any given time. As you get stronger in that movement, after the fourth workout, the sixth workout, the eighth, the 10th workout of it, you are starting to you're getting cellular adaptation and you're getting a hypertrophic adaptation where your muscles are getting firmer, stronger, and bigger. So when you can do your glute bridges with more weight, your lunges with more weight, your squat with more weight, your deadlift with more weight, you're getting a more peachy round derriere, basically, is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what Billy wants. That's what he told me he wanted in a private message. So you know what I mean? Got to address it. So does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
So as well, I just want to, before we close tonight, if anybody has any questions that they don't want to ask out loud, and there's no judgment about that. If there's anything you want to ask me privately that you didn't want to ask tonight on the call, not a problem. You can message me, you can drop me a DM, and I will do my best to answer it as fast as I can for you. So, I appreciate sometimes you don't want to put it in the group. Sometimes you might want to say it on here. Perfectly fine. You can drop me a DM and I'll answer it for you privately. Not a problem, because I know people do that from time to time. So thank you for attending. Hope that makes sense. And I'll be annoying you all week and pushing you along.
Thank you.
See you guys. Take care.
Have a great week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you guys. Bye bye.